Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Ackerson. I'm the CEO and founder of AutoGrow.co, and I'm also joined by Alex. Hey, Alex.
Hello.
Today, we're talking about 8 killer copywriting techniques to help you just grow conversions on your landing pages. And in terms of your landing pages, whether you're making a new landing page for some sort of new campaign, you got some sort of special offer that you want to launch, if you have an existing landing page that you're looking to optimize, you want that existing landing page to basically convert 2 people instead of 1 for every 100 visitors, whatever it is. These techniques can help you to do that. And they can help you faster and perhaps better than having to go through some sort of a lengthy redesign. Because I think as many entrepreneurs, marketers, business owners know, when it comes to design, it's a bit more time consuming. There's different details. You want to be very specific. You want to make sure the branding is right and everything is positioned perfectly. With copy though, Alex, as you well know, it's the power of words, and it's the power of, well, can you just go in and change a few words? Of course. And if you're using lead pages, something like lead pages, it's very, very easy to do that. So that's why many times in terms of like time required, like at AutoGrow, for example, like we'll often run A/B tests, but it's only on copy. It's not on like a complete redesign because, you want to be nimble, you want to be quick on your feet. And so that's the advantage and what we're talking about today. So Alex, what is copywriting technique number 1? And I just want to say quickly for the audience too, is we actually put together a full article of 11 killer copywriting techniques. So we're sort of open looping it for you guys. If you want the other 3 pro techniques, I encourage, if you're watching on YouTube, click the link below to go check it out, the full article version. Or if you're on autogrow.co, just scroll down, you can read all about them. Okay, so what's the first one, Alex?
Yeah, so the first one is spend extra time on your headlines. So headlines in copywriting are very, very important. So apparently, I think, what was the number in here? It was 8 out of 10 people will read your headline, but only 2 out of 10 will actually get any further than that. So it's very, very important to have a good, solid headline that explains what you do.
Right. And it's, I think part of writing great copy and coming up with ideas to test great copy is to really just be as empathetic as possible with your target audience. And part of that comes down to really just imagining a specific person kind of in front of you, like we talked about in another recent article on conversion funnels, which we published 2 days ago. So if you can pick a specific niche and just imagine that one specific person, because, if you imagine just like a giant audience of people, or like you're really just thinking about, okay, well, how do I sell the product? You're not really, the copy is going to be potentially less, incisive. It's going to, it's not going to get people's attention in terms of who it's most for. So headlines are highly visible. The top headline on your page is the most visible thing that people will see. And Alex, as you just said, 2 out of 10 people will actually continue reading forward. And beyond the headline too, though, you want to make sure that that copy that proceeds after that it's aligned and it is supporting, written in support of that primary headline, especially if that headline is your unique selling proposition. In that case, your entire sales funnel copy should be in support of that USP.
And actually, one thing that you said, you were talking about being empathetic with your customer, and that kind of leads into this next one, which is using emotion to spur action in your audience. So using emotion, that's one of the things that cuts to people more than logic.
Mm. Right, and emotional word choices. So I mean, like even you just using the word, for example, cut. That's you could have used a variety of words there, but even like, let's say it's a headline that we were just using, we put the word cut instead of, divide. Divide is more conceptual. Cut can be more visual or more, forceful, violent even. I mean, no violence.
That's what I was going for. I was going for violent.
How far can we take it? Sever.
Right. Dismember. Maybe.
Too dark.
Right. Sorry.
I'm just kidding. So, Yeah. Um, so were there any other examples that you came up with in the research?
Let's see. There was actually one thing that I found was this. It was a copywriting wheel. So it's basically broken up into one, two, three, four, six different emotions. And then what it does is it goes out from like anger, and then it goes to these different, uh, I guess, variations of anger. So there's
Mm,
hurt, threatened, hateful, mad. And then it breaks it down even further into more specific words based on those. I guess you kind of have to see it to understand what I'm talking about.
mm,
But it's interesting because all these words, they elicit different emotions,
mhm.
and if you can use the right word, then you can basically implant an emotion in someone. At
Yeah.
least that's the way I think of it. So
Yeah.
if you know what your audience, what you want them to feel, knowing the right words to spur that emotion on, it can be super beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. And what emotions or beliefs, value systems are the people that you're writing for predisposed
Hmm.
to have? For example, the kind of predisposition for, I know, desire for justice. And a way that you could evoke that is, I'm not sure, I can't think of one off the top of my head in terms of like a headline. There's probably an easy way to do that, but certainly in terms of like a story anecdote, where, an injustice was happening to whatever the main character was that you're kind of telling
Mm.
the story about. But it also makes me think about the proven sales conversion pack, where we have a ton of case studies that show you examples, more examples than what we're talking about here, about the laws of sales funnel physics, specifically the law of emotion. So if you want to check
Mm.
that out, you can find that listed at autogrow.co/marketplace. All right. So what's the next one, Alex?
So the next one is using repetition, which actually I think that might be a law of sales funnels physics too, right?
Right. Yeah. Repetition. Why do we make many of the decisions and even come to sort of some of the conclusions that we do about different things that are going on in our lives, or even about business? Um, you know, there's all sorts of branding research that say that, oh, you need to hear the name of a brand 7 times minimum before you'll actually be able to recall it and even make a purchase decision on it. um, so basically, through repetition, that increases the ability for people to actually remember and recall, and that ability to recall translates to actual sales. This is also why in traditional radio ads, which aren't so common, who's listening to the radios these days, I guess, except through maybe Spotify. But traditional radio ads would just kind of repeat the name of the brand, and even the website. You can listen on podcasts. They'll do it in terms of the scripts that they're using too. Um, they'll repeat the web address again and again and again. Um, and because you can relate it to nature. For example, like when I've explained this on a webinar in the past, I would say, okay, like think of an orange tree, and think about how in nature, nature's goal is to kind of like replicate itself and pass on its DNA to the next generation. So in the case of the seeds of the orange tree are contained in the fruit of the oranges, and therefore, there's multiple oranges, there's a repetition of oranges, and some animal, human, whatever, gravity is going to take that and weather and spread that out. And basically, the more kind of possibilities that are out there, the more oranges that there are on the tree, the more likely that the DNA will be passed on and that there'll be another orange tree. It's very similar with ideas too. So kind of making your own orange tree and putting all the fruits on there by repeating yourself. All right. What's the next one?
So the next one is make sure your copy is reader focus.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's basically just trying to position your company and the benefits of your product or your service, so that it appeals to, I guess, your audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with this one, I'm not sure if I have anything else really to add other than just really trying to put yourself in the shoes, and it comes down to like actually making the choice. Like, because even if your copy is, people don't want to pick a specific niche because they're worried that, oh, like if I write for one specific type of person, that's going to exclude everyone else. And that's not necessarily the case either. When I was in a mastermind for a few years with Brennan Dunn, one great point that I think he made in one of our meetings was, in terms of actually writing copy that is effective and that's niche, he would write, for example, just to like his specific audience, but it would also just bring in other people. So it wouldn't necessarily exclude those people, but it would increase the conversion rate, certainly with the core audience. But then like, he'd have like dentists, for example, even signing up for his course or whatever it was that he was selling.
It's interesting. So the next one is inject a bit of personality into your copy. So this one's pretty basic, I think. I mean, it's just kind of saying don't be afraid to be a little bit different, I guess. It's kind of how I think of it. Use slang, colloquialisms, humor, personality. So don't, like, if you're going to stand out, then you can't sound like everyone else.
Yeah. It's okay to make, ideally you have like an amazing sense of humor. So if you crack a joke, it's like really funny. But it's okay to be like, maybe you just have a corny sense of humor, and like, that's okay too. Like I'll be reading someone's,
Yeah.
no, you have a good sense of humor. But like someone will, I've read in some blog articles, like, crack a joke, or maybe it might be, might not land so well because they're speaking in certain colloquialisms or a manner that's like, native to, I don't know, Australian English versus like American English. So for me, it just won't land, but still it makes me think about the person who wrote it. And I think that's important because people want to connect with other people. People want to buy from other people. They don't want to necessarily, or they prefer to buy from other people rather than buying from some sort of anonymous brand, especially if, you're a smaller, business or brand that's not as well established yet, like a Nike. Okay, like go to the Nike store, Nike, or jockey clothing, for example. So whatever the case is, it increases the likability factor, and that's one of the key dimensions of influence, as cited by Robert Cialdini in his famous book Influence.
And I mean, it just humanizes you, right? I mean, and that goes a long way.
Yep.
So the next one is back up your points with research. So this is, I guess this kind of gets at the authority aspect of things, like why should people trust you and what you're saying? And if you can back up what you're saying with, I guess, trustworthy research, then that credibility kind of transfers over to you.
Research in a way is sort of like, it's almost on the level or in a similar kind of dimension as social proof. And the thing about citing credible, statistics or research case studies is some of that credibility rubs off on you, just like in whatever argument that you're making. And people are just more likely to trust you for that. So, because they say, okay, this person is not arguing from, pure emotion or buy now, but there's, the Greeks called it logos, so logic.
Yep, that's right. As opposed to pathos, I think, which is emotion, right? Did I get that?
Logos, pathos, and
ethos.
Ethos was, I think. Well, I guess it would be.
It's credibility.
It would be, arguing from like you should believe me because I have so much experience in this and expertise.
Yeah.
So I would say more so logos, maybe a little bit of ethos.
Yeah. It's a little mix between the two. So the next one is using power words to spur action. So do you remember the power words? I can list them off real quick. So actually, the main power word that we've kind of talked about before is you, but that goes back to the audience focus copy. But the other ones that you can start using are imagine, because, actually, introducing, guarantee, and free.
Hmm.
So kind of a long list there, but
I use a lot of those just like in
just
conversation.
all the time. Exactly. You're a natural
I,
born marketer.
yeah. Well, sometimes you do it for so long, it comes kind of
Just
naturally.
happens. Yeah, totally.
Um, so like I'll use actually. Another word that I didn't hear on the list is actually
Hmm.
is actually but, the word but, because that kind of moves the energy
Oh,
within a sentence.
like shifts it.
Yeah, it kind of puts the emphasis. So
Huh.
that's because is a great one.
Mm.
There was a study that showed that people were standing in line, and someone would come up and as part of the study and try to like cut in line, and in one case they wouldn't give a reason, and people
Mm.
get pissed off, be like, get out of here, like I was waiting here. But in another case they would say, well, i need to I need to cut in front of you because, like, when they were asked, like, I need to cut in front of you because bananas, like it wouldn't even matter what the reason was, as long as they gave a reason, people are like, oh, okay, bananas.
Yeah, that's so weird how just like one, like how you can like not trick someone, but yeah, you're not giving an actually good reason for it, but just
Mhm.
because you gave something, they're like, all right, fine, that's good.
Yeah, as long
Yeah,
as
that's
there's
interesting.
just the existence of a reason.
Right, right. So I think we have one more, right?
Okay, last one, let's knock it out.
Yeah, last one is speak simply without being simple. So that just kind of gets down to like, uh, don't use jargon, don't overcomplicate, and try to get to the heart of what you're saying and try to get there as soon as you can.
Hmm.
Like you don't need to be overly verbose like I'm being right now. You can just like say what you want to say, and when you do that, then people will respond to it better.
I agree. And this is something that we do actively at AutoGrow. To kind of explain, before I give the example, to explain the concept, imagine, power word. Imagine that, you know, it's it's like it's like a style of eating, so um, if you're writing in more kind of like long run-on sentences, if you're using a lot of jargon, um, you could be communicating something to some people, but it's kind of like, in terms of eating, it's like trying to stuff like a whole Thanksgiving dinner into your mouth, versus the alternative, which is, okay, we're gonna write simple sentence structure. We're not gonna have like super long paragraphs. We're going to have like a fifth grade reading level as like maybe the limit. Those are like kind of like bites of a cookie, delicious and manageable. So, and that's what we do at AutoGrow, and that's kind of the exact analogy that we use as part of our training for content writers.
Hmm.
Is you want to go for bites of the cookie, and Hemingway app is actually great for this. It's free. You can go check it out.
Yep,
We use it on our articles, and we use it on our landing page copy as well. All right, so I think that's the last one, right, Alex?
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, at this part of the video, I just want to invite you guys to go ahead, read the rest of the articles. There's still 3 more killer copywriting techniques. We've gone over 8 in this video. And like this video, share the article. And if you want to learn more about AutoGrow, if you want to delegate all of your digital marketing tasks without the high cost of hiring, then go to autogrow.co. Delegate all of your digital marketing tasks without the high cost of hiring, because that's what we can do for you. We're building a platform where you sign up, you log in, and you have a whole just kind of unlimited team of talent at your fingertips. And the way that it works is we call it our ideas made real interface. So you start step 1, you create your first idea. Okay, I want to write some copy for my new landing page that I'm going to launch. Okay, so you put that idea in, boom, it goes onto your list, and maybe you add some notes, and then you click, all right, click make it real, and then it goes off to the team. We work on it. You see it moving from 0 to 100% in real time. You have a project manager that you can chat with if you have any questions at all, and we otherwise just make it real for you, and you get work done just by having typed a little bit. So it's awesome. All right, so check it out. It's autogrow.co. And if you're on more of a tighter budget, so you're more of a do-it-yourself type, check out autogrow.co/marketplace. So until next time, keep converting, stay focused.